After grinding Gaia 3 for almost a week to get the fourth ending, I realized that I never bothered to upload my H201 video, so here it is now. The previous record was 7 operators, that's already on my channel. I copied it from CN and I will link it in the description if you want to check it. So, from those 7 operators, Deep Cower, Cutter and Indigo were all in that run. They are essentially forced operators. Deep Cower kills the flag, Indigo kills the 3 bog dudes, and Cutter is necessary to deal with the drones in the second phase of the boss fight. So there is no way to remove any of those. The other operators in that run were Quartz, Matuimaro, and 2 medics, Perfumer and Pure Stream. Now the 2 bosses go on different lanes, so we need 2 blockers, there's no other way to deal with it. So we would have to remove a medic, but at that point there is no way to remove a medic, because Quartz and Matuimaro take so much damage. So the only option was to remove Matuimaro, and I spent my time trying to figure out if there was a way to move the Masty up, and I found it. It's done by blocking. If there is some other blocked enemy, the second blocked enemy gets pushed up a bit. This pushes her up just enough that later we can use other operators to shift her into the tile above Quora. This will let only one operator block both the clone coming from the bottom and the one coming from the top. Initially I used Quartz with 2 medics, Pure Stream and Gavio, since now they only had to heal a single target. That got me through it, but I had some struggles. Eventually, once I got to the second phase, I couldn't deal with the wave of enemies. They start hitting Cutter, and there's just not enough healing to keep both Quartz and Cutter alive, so something had to fault. I gave up at that point because I couldn't figure out a way to deal with it. Then when I started playing Gaia 3 again for the fourth ending, I had a realization. Quartz is a terrible operator. So I replaced Quartz with 2 useful operators, namely Quora and Bubble, and removed 1 medic instead. Now with just Gavio, we had a different kind of problem. Cutter cannot tank the spies. If she takes 2 direct hits from them, she dies instantly. She can do it while Gavio is only healing her, but if Gavio wastes heals on Quora or Bubble, Cutter dies. This was fortunately for me resolvable by throwing tentacles and Bubble to block the spies earlier and use up their attack, as you noticed earlier. Finally, with the first wave dealt, we began the very slow transition. This usually takes about 10 minutes. The whole run is 20 minutes long. We use the tentacles to tank. Now, there's a very important thing we need to do here. The boss must not be split boxed into the defender, because we need other enemies to be split boxed, so Cutter prioritizes attacking them over the boss. So we were very careful to make sure that the Masty on the top lane remains outside of the box. It's also important that Bubble is the last defender we used in the first phase, because we need Quora to be used first in the second phase for her skill. As to the first 3 tentacles that are deployed, the only important thing is the tentacle on the top left. It must not be hit by the boss's single target attack, because that tentacle needs to survive the drone wave. The reason we need it is for the Crown Slayer copycat to get hit once. To hit it once, because they do 2 attacks and then dash. We'll show why that needs to happen later. Here, Quora is blocking 4 enemies and a 5th one is coming. We keep throwing tentacles at it. Cool. Cutter damaged the enemy that's blocked a bit, and she will finish it off with her S2, while the tentacles style the Circus guy. Now, since the Circus guy is split boxed, he becomes a valid target over the Masty, since he's closer to the blue box. Using this, we get the Q in time, and now we have the Clown Slayer copy. He attacks once and dashes. That's why we needed him to only attack once. If he attacked the tentacle twice, he would kill it, walk up to Bubble, dash on her and go straight into the blue box. Because he split boxed himself in Cutter's range instead, he got killed easily, since they actually have very low defense. And now we're in the final part of the run. There's only one thing that needs to be very carefully done here. We need to make sure Indigo is the one that dies to the 50% insta-kill, since we need Bubble and Deep Cover. The problem with that is the drones or the boss spell will both insta-kill her, so we just needed to be careful when we deploy her. We controlled our damage a bit to reach that, and now we're at the final phase. We keep throwing tentacles to prevent the boss reaching the tile in front of the red box. The reason for this is that the boss AFKs on that tile for about 40 seconds or so. This is long enough to redeploy Deep Cover and get to stun the boss with 14 tentacles in total. We need every 2 we can get, because Cutter is our only real DPS at this point and the boss has about 700 defense, so Cutter is doing basically nothing with her basic attacks. Luckily the boss barely does any damage too, because the boss also only has about 700 damage. Since both Bubu and Korra have nearly 1000 defense, it takes a while before the boss starts doing anything. We keep throwing tentacles, hoping for Cutter to kill before we run out of block. Now, this is the final time we'll need to swap a defender, because otherwise we'll either leak or kill the boss before Korra dies. So at this point Bubu can be used on the top lane, and we just need to stall the boss a bit more. We deploy our last tentacle and Bubu is back up. At this point the victory is secured.
この程度の相手か。余裕だ余裕。